Alright guys, welcome to the second phase of our student info class. In our previous tutorial, we tried to build our subclass and we apply all of the syntax of the Java programming language. So before we move to our main class, let's try to recap on some of the things we did in our previous tutorial for our student info project. So here we try to declare all of the variables or all of the data that we need. We use two data types. We use the string and that of the integer. And the next thing we did was to build the constructor, and we passed the parameter within the constructor. We also try to access the information within our constructor. And then we built the getter and the setter method. So you can see here we have the getter and the setter. For all of the variables that we declare, we have the getter and the setter for them. So the getter and the setter method ends here. And the next thing we did was to build the toString method. So you can see the toString method is here. This is the toString method. And we return all of the data that we declare within the toString method. Alright, here we go. So the next thing now on our list is to come back here to write our code for our main class, wherein we can access all of the informations we declare in our subclass. So let's come back here to our main class. Before we begin with our main class, there are some tactics I want to show you, just like what we did here, applying the generate functions, wherein we created the constructor, the getter and the setter, and the toString method. So in the main class, there are some things you can do. If you don't want to write public static void main string array from scratch, all you need to do is to write psvm, which is public static void main, and you click enter. So you can apply these things when you have a lot of codes to write. You can just try to apply all these syntax. Alright. Now, the first thing we want to do in our main class is to create our Arraylist method. So we need the Arraylist where we can print all of these informations, and we can ask the keyboard to for us to enter information from the keyboard. So we need our Arraylist. Alright, so we come here, we say Arraylist functions. Alright, so the next thing is we say Arraylist, and we try to call the name of our constructor. So here we have the constructor. This is the constructor here, and we try to call this constructor. So we say student info, and student info equal new Arraylist. We put our semicolon. So now we will print the information within our Arraylist syntax. And the next thing now we want to do is to ask the keyboard scanner input. So in order to have that functions, we need to enter the libraries. So we say scanner input equal new scanner system.in. Here we go. So immediately as you enter these functions, you will see the library here. So this is the library for the Arraylist, and this is the library for the keyboard scanner input, right? Now the next thing now we move to is to build our choice functions. So because we need to enter the informations by choices, so let's say make choice. Alright, then we say int, and we say menu choice equal 4. So there are 4 kinds of choices we have in the previous program. So it's the same thing we're trying to apply here. Let's say do, and we say system.out.println. So the first choice here is let's say /t, and this one should be welcome to registration center. So this one is for the display functions. I will just go over it pretty fast. Alright, here we go. So we have the choices. I just ran over it pretty fast. You can see these are the choices. Welcome to Vacation School Registration Center. And the first choice here says register student. The second choice is to search for student information. The third is to view student information, and the fourth is to exit, right? So these are the choices we need. The next thing now we want to do is to write our try catch exception. So when the user enter information outside the range of these choices, there should be a try catch exception that will try to bring all of these things back until the user enter choice that is validated within the system, right? So we come here and we try to write our try catch exception. We say try or enter choice. Please enter a choice, and we say menu choice equal integer dot present int, and we say input dot next line. Alright, so if the user enter maybe letters that is outside or numbers, we will have this choice to come back until the user enters something that is validated in the system. So the next thing now is we write a try catch exception. We say catch, and we say catch number exception E. That is for the try catch exception. Oh no. Number exception E, and we put continue. Good. So this one will fix the issues about user entering something outside the choice, the various choices. Alright, so now the next thing we want to do is to apply our if statement for the various choices. We could also use the switch statement, but it's better to use the if statement for this. So let's say if menu choice equals 1, what happened? Then user will enter all of the information to register student, right? So if menu choice equal 1, user should register student. So let's say sort. So it's another short way of writing system dot out dot print in, right? So you can just write like this one, sort, and you click enter, right? So it's how you can write some shortcut keys. Alright, so the first thing user should enter is the student name. So let's say enter student name. Good, that will be for the first thing. So if the user enters student name, there should be a next functions so that the user can enter maybe student ID or student age, right? So we need that function. So let's say name, let's say string first to identify the data type. We say name equal let's say input the next line. It's better to use next line. There are options here. We could have used next, input the next, but it's better to use next line because we have so many informations. So let's say input dot next line. Alright, so the next information user will enter now should be like for student ID, after the name. So let's say enter student ID number, or enter student ID. Good, it's better that way. And after the user enters student ID, it should also move to the next functions, right? So let's say string student ID equal input dot next line. So it's how we will try to apply it for all the rest of the data type that we declare within the system. So we have the name, the student ID, the age, the course, every other thing that we try to declare here, we should try to access it here. So I will just go over it and bring it back to you. Alright, here we go. So we have everything here. I just went over it pretty fast. Okay, so the user will enter the student name, and then it will move to next line for the student ID, and then move to next line for the student major, move to next line for the GPA, and so forth. Okay, until the user enter all of the information for the student registration. Okay, so let's go over the code so you can see everything from the start before we move to the next code. Here is the option for the courses. So the user will enter all of the information for the student courses. And this one, we have this to be like try catch exception. So what if the user enter information that is within a choice? So it should be recognized as the try catch exception, because all of the other data type, they are of string data type, and with the exception of the age, which is the integer data type. So if the user enter information like the integer, there should be a try catch exception that will show the differences between the age and that of the choices. So we have the various choice here, they are all integer data type. So that's what I wrote this one here for the age. Alright, so this one is for the year, the department, and the professors. Here we go. So now the next thing now we want to do is to access all of the information that we try to pass. So let's come here. Honor this guy. Alright. We say student info, student info equal new student info, and we try to access all of the informations we declare. So we have name, age. So you see, like here the compiler is even helping me because all of the informations that I'm trying to call here, they are all validated. So you can see the compiler calling me the data type and that of the informations declared. So we have major, and the next one is the year. We have department, and we have I will try to check that out. Student ID, let's try to make this a little bit nice. Okay, and the next thing here is what next we have on the list. Name, GPA, have the courses, the session, the year, session, year. No, we already have year, so this should be professor's name. Professor name. Yeah. So where do we have error for the department ID? Check that up pretty fast. So do we have information for the department? Alright, so maybe this, I think, is an oversight. Let's check it. Okay, so here we have sessions in place of the department ID, so or the department name, so we didn't pass department, so that's why we have it here and it was an error. So let's try to remove it. Instead of department, we put sessions. Okay, everything now is fine. So the next thing now we want to do is to add the information. So we say student infos dot add student info. Very good. Here we go. So we have all of these things now. So let's try to, now this is the first choice of our program. Here we have the first choice. The next choice we want to create now is the second choice, where we will search the student information. So let's try to create a second choice. So here we say else if menu choice equals to what happened, let's say XOUT, and we say enter enter student ID number. Okay, so let's say price, please, let's be a little nice with it. Please search this, search this is a student ID number. Yeah, I think it's better this way. So here the user will enter the student ID number to search the student information. So let's say please search by student ID number. Okay, it's better that way. Alright, so now when the user enter the student ID number, what should happen? Or let's say string and we say student ID equal input dot next line. Here we go, and we read our for loop, student info, not student web. We call the name of the constructor student info, and we say student infos. Here we go. We try to print the information for the student. There we go. Alright. So the next thing now we want to do is, we did our first choice, our second choice. So we will try to create our third choice. Let's try to build our third choice. Else if menu choice equal 3, or what happened? So let this information display, Oh no, let's come down one step. Let's come down one step here. I think it's better that way. Else, if, because we have error, menu choice equal 3. So what should happen? Let's say welcome to student informations. Alright, there we go. Then the last one now is to exit. So the last one is to exit the system. Let's use Y. Menu choice equals 4. Our menu choice are less than 4. I think it should be better that way. And thank you. Bye. I think we have this one over and over. So let's try to fix it. Alright, so we done now. Let's go over the code very fast, then we can run it. So this is the beginning of our main class. Alright, so here our main class ends. Let's try to run our program now. Come here and we click the run. Let's see if we have some errors or we don't. It's actually loading. So let's take this guy from here. Why display this? Yeah, let's try to relocate this. Alright, here we go. So we have it here. Sorry. Okay. Let's add everything here nicely. So we go and we click 1. So we enter the name. Let's say Chingsei, and let's enter the ID. It's just random number. The major, computer science, and the GPA, let's say 3.0. Let's say the courses the student applying for, English and physics. The age is 30. The year 2020. The department, computer science department, and the sponsor. Here we go. So we register the first student, and the second thing is to search for the student information. So we press 2 and the ISO to enter the student information, the ID. So let's copy this because the number is a little bit large, and we click this. Very good. So we have the student ID here, but I just trying the test case. You can register many students as you want. So you see, every time we register one student, the information pop down again, so we can register another student, right? So let's try the third case. We press 3 and the student information display. So if we have about more than one student in the system, all of the information will display, and we enter 4 for the exit. Very good. So let's try to go over it. Lastly, we come back to our subclass for this program, and we start it from the beginning. If you also have questions, please comment below, and if you need a source code, we can provide you. Alright, so this is the end for the subclass. We come back to our main class. we begin from here. Let me try to expand this a little bit. Alright, here we go. And here is the end of our main class. So guys, thank you for this tutorial, and we move to our next tutorial in this course. Don't forget to subscribe as we bring you more content in this tutorial and this course as well. Thank you, and let's move to our next tutorial.